We remember to thank our Creator for all that we are and all that we have. Please help to guide us through the decisions we have to make this evening. Amen.
Amen. Supervisor Robel.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll move for the approval of this evening's agenda.
Then moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Carried. Is there anybody from the public that would like to speak on anything on the agenda this evening? Now is your chance to talk.
Yes, my name is John.
Would you please go to the mic to the...
Good evening. Good evening. My name is John Rowe. I'm Vice President of Operations for Cumulus Media. We operate 5 radio stations out of Oshkosh, covering Winnebago County and surrounding communities. Tonight you have a motion to pass where we are your presenting media sponsor, so we look forward to working with you and supporting this great county. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else that would like to address the board on anything on the agenda this evening? Is there anybody else that would like to address the board on anything on the agenda this evening? That portion of the meeting will be closed. Communications and petitions from the clerk.
There are 2 resolutions from other counties. The first one was from Dunn County, resolution number 30, supporting creation of a nonpartisan procedure for the preparation of legislative and congressional redistricting plans. That'll be forwarded to the legislative committee. An Outagamie County Resolution 154, 2016-17 supports the state of Wisconsin's proposed recount reform bill, also referred to the legislative committee. We have a petition for zoning change from Kenneth C. Halder in the town of Poygan, requesting a zoning change from A2 to R1 for a single-family residence, referred to planning and zoning. Petition for zoning amendment from Kenneth Walter in the town of Oshkosh, requesting a zoning change from A2 to R1 for a single-family residence, referred to planning and zoning. And a petition from Douglas Falk in the town of Winneconne, requesting a zoning change from B2 community business to B3 general business for personal storage facility and bus storage, also referred to planning and zoning. And that's all.
Reports from committees, commissions, and boards. Supervisor Rowe.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is actually a report on 3 committees: Facilities and Property Management, Personnel and Finance, and Aviation. In your packet, please locate Resolution 84-122016. It is the first resolution in our packet tonight. You will see the committee votes from each of these 3 committees. The first problem is none of these committees ever voted on this resolution as presented. I say as presented because this document has been changed since we last saw it in February. Lines 26 through 31 were arbitrarily added to the original resolution. Mr. Chairman, it is troubling that this resolution was even put on tonight's agenda.
It was they had sent out a memo that it was being pulled. I believe that somebody from the county sent out a memo saying that that resolution was being pulled from tonight, and when I come to my report, I was going to pull it. So that resolution is being pulled. Supervisor Egan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I report from 2 committees. One is there will be no legislative committee meeting this month, being that we only had 1 person that had anything to put on. 2 is for the planning and zoning. Unfortunately, the planning and zoning has come up with people short. Candace has left, and also Eric has left now. So 2 of their enforcement people are no longer with them. So if you hear complaints or whatever that some of the things are not getting out on time, that is the reason why. They'll keep on going the best that they can, but as of right now, there are 2 staff members short, so some of the permits might be short. Also, if you plan on coming to any of the public forum hearings that the Planning and Zoning has, they have started on the 4th floor where we always had the hearings on, already with revamping it and moving people over there. So our hearings from now on will be on the 3rd floor until further notice. Thank you.
Thank you. Approval of proceedings from April 18th, 2017 meeting. It's been moved and seconded. Are there any additions or corrections? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Carried. County Executives Report.
Want to take the opportunity tonight just to give the board a heads up on a couple items that will be coming to you on a future agenda. One of them is we're part of a 6-county coalition in the Fox Valley Workforce Development Board, actually a group that has a very large jobs fair today. But several years ago, they got an unfavorable Department of Labor audit. And over the last several years, we've been working through the differences with the Department of Labor. And they've got a settlement agreement now. The final step is for workforce development to see if their insurer will cover any of that difference. But any amount not covered by insurance will have to be made up by the participating counties at the time of the audit. The amount is relatively small. The entire amount's only about $102,000. And we would pay a share of that based on our share of the population. So we'll have to wait and see how much of that's covered by insurance, but it is possible that we would have 5 installments of less than $6,000 each that would be our share of that shortfall. And much of it comes from a change in Department of Labor policy with regard to ownership of buildings and the leasing of those buildings back to the programming conducted by the Department of Labor. So I'll have more details and information on that at some future meeting, and you can be watching for that. The other item is just a reminder that we've been very fortunate in that the Bucks have picked this area for the location of their D-League team. And very lucky that a group of investors headed by Greg Pierce chose the old Buckstaff property. But there's still a matter that needs to be resolved there, and you can expect that at some point the treasurer will bring forward a resolution, because there are back taxes on that land, and it was a very difficult position for us, because as state law requires, we were reimbursing the other entities, the city, the school district, and the tech school, for any unpaid taxes. We then would have the right to foreclose on the property, but as we learned in the past, you don't always want to foreclose on property, especially if you have suspicion that there's contamination. So there's a chance that working with the city that we'll recover some of the funds we've paid out to the other entities, but we may be asked to make a concession on some of the funds for the county share. But at any rate, it'll leave us well ahead of continuing to pay out money to all those political entities and not being willing to foreclose on the property because we don't want to be in the chain of title. I think it's actually a windfall for us. I can understand how some people might take a different perspective, but I would expect that a resolution will come forward through the treasurer sometime in the next couple of months. And that's really all I have tonight.
Okay, thank you. Supervisor Brooks and Supervisor Keller had asked to be excused from tonight's meeting. I'd like to ask us to keep Supervisor Keller in your prayers. He has some major illnesses. At this time, I'm going to come up and we're going to give the presentation for the county scholarships. Is there anybody sitting in the back, any of the students that still, would you come up front? We have a chair for you here. At this time, I'd like to ask Rayleigh Morey to come up. Oh, see, it's a good thing we found you. You would have missed out. Here's your scholarship money, and you'll be getting the second check later on in the season, or later on in the year. And this is a county history book, and we would like you to tell us where you're gonna go to school and what you're gonna do. This is your presentation and your scholarship award. But tell us what you're gonna do and where you're going.
I'm planning on studying mechanical engineering at the University of St. Thomas in Minnesota.
Okay, thank you. Here's your. You have to, I apologize for mutilating some of these names, but Macarena Kalen Shirey. This is your scholarship, and this is your certificate that you had won it. So welcome, and tell us where you're going to be going to school and what you're going to be doing.
Hello, I will be studying at the University of Wisconsin-Oshkosh, where I hope to pursue my career in law.
And this is a history book on Winnebago County, so welcome. Good luck to you. At this time, I'd like to ask Colin Hayes to come up from Neenah. This is your scholarship and your money, and this is a history book. And I'd like to thank you for applying and winning it, and tell us where you're going and what you're doing.
Hi, yes, I'll be studying engineering mechanics with an emphasis on astronautics, which is like similar to aerospace engineering at the University of Wisconsin-Madison next year.
This is from Oshkosh North High School to Allison Conrad. I'd like you to come up. This is your scholarship and your scholarship money and the certificate, and tell us where you're going and what you're going to be doing.
I will be attending the University of Minnesota Twin Cities, and I'll be studying nursing.
And a scholarship. And the other one, and there's another one from Oshkosh North, is Michelle Loken. Would you come forward? This is your certificate and your check and a history book, and would you tell us where you're going and what you're going to be doing?
Next year I'll be attending University of Wisconsin-Oshkosh, and I plan to pursue a major in history.
Well, we have a history book. One of our supervisors will be proud because he was a history teacher. This is Winnebago High School, and the certificate is going to Spencer Wen. This is your certificate and your check and a history book. Please tell us where you're going and what you're going to be doing.
I'll be attending the University of Minnesota Twin Cities to study biomedical engineering.
This is Appleton North High School, Lexi Kearney. This is your certificate and your check and a history book. And I'd like to thank you for winning and playing. And would you tell us where you're going and what you're going to be doing?
Yes, I'm going to be attending the University of Wisconsin-Eau Claire for, or in pursuit of medicine. So. Yeah.
I'd like to ask Vice Chairman Rowe to come up and present this.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Very happy to do this. I'm also very proud to do it because this scholarship goes to my granddaughter, Natalie Bell Rowe. Here's your check, your certificate, And the history book will have a test over Christmas break. If you would, please tell everybody where you're going to school and what you plan to study.
Next year, I will be attending Marquette University, and I will be majoring in biomedical sciences.
There were also other awards that had won that we'll be sending them their certificates, and you want to give me them, I can read the names. Kayla Hubbard from Nina, will be sending her check and her certificate. So I'd like to thank you. We'll wait 1 second before we continue till they leave. At this time, I'd like to have the Human Service Director come up. He's going to be given a presentation of the 2017 Scholarship for Continuing Education in the Field of Psychology to a Winnebago County recipient, Jasmine Felder.
Good evening. I have an important announcement for another award recipient tonight. This award recipient was elected for this or nominated for this award by our county to the Wisconsin County Human Services Association. We had an annual awards banquet back on the 5th of May, and Jasmine, who's here in the audience, she'll be coming up in a minute, she was unable to make it that night, so it was thought that it would be very nice if we could have a mini award ceremony tonight for her. The award that is given by the Wisconsin County Human Services Association is a $250 scholarship for the purpose of continuing education to a person who is a member of a family who has received human services and who is going to be studying in the field of human services as their life's work. So tonight, Jasmine, who is a 23-year-old young lady, I need to give you a little bit of background. She lived in Wisconsin for her earlier years and then moved to New Jersey. And not that long ago, her mother has become unable to care for Jasmine's 3 siblings. So Jasmine made a big decision to come back and to parent her 3 siblings and a child of her own. And she was awarded guardianship. She's taking on a huge responsibility. I have nothing but the greatest respect for a young lady who's putting her life on hold for a couple of years to take care of her siblings. And I wanted to honor her tonight by sharing this story with you, and also to have her come up, receive her award, and tell you what she plans to do with her continuing education. So please welcome Jasmine.
I'm going to be attending UW Fox Valley this fall for psychology and education. I'd like to be a guidance counselor, and then I'm going to continue at UW Oshkosh. So I'd like to say thank you so much for, the generosity in supporting me and going back to school to further my education. It'll expand my opportunities for not only myself, but for my siblings as well, and I'd like to make a good example for them as well. So thank you so much.
Thank you. On your desk, there was an introduction to the online store for the personal purchase of county logo apparel. Somebody had brought to us the attention that they thought the supervisors and different people should have some apparel to wear with a county logo on it. Sue?
So, we, just a screenshot of the website where you have the instructions to go there. And basically, over here, there's just an option to go to store, and they have different stores for different organizations, and ours is the Winnebago County store. And then there are gonna be additional items on here. They've got a number of the polo shirts and the different jackets. And then there's some windbreakers that they hadn't added yet, but they might have them on here now. So yes, they've got these are like for the golf V-neck windbreakers. So there's a number of different things that you can purchase. So the instructions are there. And after speaking with Dave, he approves us to pursue this. So we've got a couple samples of the types of shirts. One with a logo that they did with blue printing on blue. Doesn't show up very good, but we've corrected that. They're gonna use white on the darker colors. But they're pretty and they're nice quality. We went with Sports Graphics out of Menasha, county business. Plus they also provide, I guess they do the work for the public health department's polo shirts, or the shirts that the employees and board members use. Supervisor Norton's the one that brought it to my attention and asked if we could do this. And so with Dave's blessing, we went ahead and pursued it. We got the logo done up. And then I've spoken with Executive Harris, and he also gave the blessing to let us open this up to county employees to purchase them if they would like to order a shirt. And it is at everybody's own personal expense. There's no county money in this. But that's pretty much it. Like I said, we've got some samples up here if after the meeting somebody wants to come up and take a look at them. Supervisor Norton asked about the time frame. I haven't ordered anything from them online yet, but I did order the shirt for here, and it took about a week to get it. So, and I think they probably would ship it to you. It's probably their means of getting it. So, okay? Thank you.
Zoning reports and ordinances. I guess I'll have to be helped out who this goes to. Report number 1, Lori A. Shevler and John Ross, Town of Neenah. Julie, who gets this? Supervisor Long. You want to bring that to the board? Report number 1 for Lori Shevler and John Ross, Town of Neenah.
Yes, I would move that that be adopted.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. A mandatory ordinance rezoning of B3 to R1 for tax parcel number 0100339. Supervisor Long. Would you bring that one forward also?
Yes, I would move that that one be adopted.
Okay. Been moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Report number 2, CMA Investments LLC, Town of Oshkosh. Supervisor Gabbard.
Okay, I'll move for the acceptance of report number 002. Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. A mandatory ordinance rezoning from R1.
I move for the acceptance of a mandatory ordinance number 050217.
Been moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. A mandatory ordinance number 3, request from the town of Utica on behalf of Warren Davies to rezone tax parcel number 0250544 from A2 to RR. Supervisor Egan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move for the approval of mandatory ordinance number 3.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Resolution number 84 was being pulled. We go to resolution 185, or 138, 5/2017. Commendation for Patricia R. Owens. Supervisor Rasmussen.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move for resolution 138, 5/2017. I did not get the personal write-up on this, so I will read the commendation that we have here, the resolution. Commendation for Patricia R. Owen, whereas Patricia R. Owen has been employed with Parkview Health Center for the past 33 years and during that time has been a most conscientious and devoted county employee. And whereas Patricia Owen has now retired from those duties, and it is appropriate for the Winnebago County Board of Supervisors to acknowledge her years of service. Now therefore be it resolved by the Winnebago County Board of Supervisors that sincere appreciation and commendation be and is hereby extended to Patricia Owen for the fine services she has rendered to Winnebago County. Thank you.
Thank you. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Carried. Resolution 139, 5/2017, disallow claim of Taya Phillips Orion. Supervisor Rasmussen.
Thank you. I move for Resolution 139, 5/2017.
Been moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Carried. Resolution 140, 5/2017, authorize the media sponsor leasing agreement between Winnebago County and Camillus Broadcasting. Supervisor Finch.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move for Resolution 140-52017. Any questions? Rob's in the back. Thank you.
All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Carried. Resolution 141, 5/2017, authorized contract between AT&T and Winnebago County for telephone line service. Who gets that? Who? Supervisor Smith.
Yes. I move for approval of resolution number 141-52017.
Been moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Resolution 142, 5/2017, amend the table of organization for Winnebago County Human Services Department, Administrative Service Division. Supervisor Rasmussen.
Thank you. I move for Resolution 142, 5/2017.
Been moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Resolution 143, 5/2017, authorize execution of airport lease between Janie G. Aviation, Inc. and Winnebago County. Supervisor Warnke.
Move for the resolution, sorry. 143. I move for the resolution of 143, 52017.
Then moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Ordinance number 144, 5/2017, amend Chapter 11 of General Code of Winnebago County Health and Social Services. Supervisor Ramos.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move for approval of ordinance number 144-52017. Just wanted to highlight two things if I could. One, as you all know, we review this sort of permit fee schedule every year. And there is a spreadsheet that everyone should have in front of them on their desk today. I just wanted to point out one thing that's different from that one versus what you received in your packet, and that's in regards to the nonprofit temporary permit less than 3 days. The bottom line is that's not in the permit fee schedule for the upcoming year. In other words, there is no permit required for those events. That's a change from last year. So I just want to make you aware of that. That's engendered some discussion in the past, but it's not part of this permit fee schedule. So,
Okay.
thank you very much.
All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Carried. Resolution number 145, 5/2017, urge legislature to review and amend ATCP 12, Parent 1, Parent C, Wisconsin Administrative Code. Supervisor Fari.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Move for approval of Resolution 145-5/2017.
It's been moved and seconded. Supervisor Wingren.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm just wondering what committee this came through.
If I might respond?
Go ahead.
I did run this through. I believe we have a right to bring them forward individually, but I run this through the Legislative Committee. Perhaps Mr. Egan can address that process that we did use.
Supervisor Egan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. That is correct. Those that were there, we did go ahead, we did approve what was said. There was nothing in writing, so we asked that Mr. Fari go ahead and write one up, the approval of the corporate council and that, but that did go through the legislative committee.
Mr. Chairman, I think that's highly irregular to pass a resolution and then ask to have it written up afterwards. So I move to send this back to the legislative committee.
Who seconded it? Mr. Smith. So what's my procedure? Do I? Okay. Supervisor Eager on voting it back, sending it back?
Yes. It seems funny, Supervisor Smith was there and he voted in favor of doing this, and now he's saying it should be sent back. Thank you.
Whether it was published or not.
We'll vote by our little iPad. Vote aye if you want to send it back. Vote no if you don't. That has failed. Yes, go ahead.
There is somewhat of an urgency to this. I have, as you note in the resolution, contacted our legislators by phone on this issue, made them aware of it, but as you're all aware, we're currently in a legislative session in Madison, so it's almost imperative, really, that hopefully we can get this amended or changed as the resolution states during this session. Doing so will allow Winnebago County to move forward and almost assuredly get our farmland preservation plan that we're currently in the process of constructing, I'll use that term, approved. So there's quite a bit on the line here. I hope you all took the time to read it. It's a very important part of this process we're going through. And the notion that the state would deny our landowners the right to participate in this program simply because we're doing it on a voluntary basis is, in my opinion, very wrong. If you own farmland in this county and you want to sign up for the plan, that should be your right to do that. The state should not come along and mandatorily put you on a map, which would require your land to be rezoned without your permission. So I urge you to support this, and hopefully we can get it down to Madison and get that one sentence taken out of this administrative rule. Thank you.
Supervisor Egan. Or Supervisor Eisen, I'm sorry.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, could Mr. Fari read that resolution? The explanation that I'm hearing is vague. I was at the legislative committee. I've read the resolution.
I agree with the content. We'll vote for it. We'll need a 3/4 vote because that's what's needed on these items. But I think it'll be a service to the board and also to the listening public to understand the background of what's involved with this, because I've heard parts, but I still haven't heard the whole story. I know the story, but I haven't heard the story tonight.
I'd be happy to, Mr.
Go
Chairman.
ahead.
This is a resolution to urge the legislature to review and amend ATCP 4912, which is administrative rules. So when they pass a law in Madison, the department that will be administrating the law also passes what's called administrative rule, and that's what they enforce. It says, and I'll quote this: whereas the Winnebago County Board of Supervisors approved a farmland preservation plan over 4 years ago, and whereas this allows for voluntary landowner preference, that means the farmers can sign up to be on the plan, as a criteria for placement of property within Winnebago County's farmland preservation plan. And whereas Winnebago County is presently in the process of updating its farmland preservation plan, which will be submitted upon completion, and hopefully that will be September, October, to the Wisconsin Department of Agricultural Trade and Consumer Protection, acronym DADCAP, for certification. And whereas officials with the DADCAP administration have already notified Winnebago County that the agent will not certify an updated farmland preservation plan if such plan requests language that allows placement of property within the farmland preservation program to be based solely upon the preference of the property owner, which is what we do. Officials of DADCAP have taken this stance based on ATCP 49.12, para 1, para C, one sentence in that administrative rule, Wisconsin Administrative Code, which reads: the rationale for placement on the farmland preservation program may not be based primarily on landowner preference. And whereas your underdesignated believes that 91.16, which is a Wisconsin law establishing farmland preservation and zoning, certification of the plan by the department does not contain language. In other words, there's no language within the law which supports the language contained in ATCP 49.12, para 1, para C. All that legal stuff, right? Yeah. Wisconsin Administrative Code. And whereas Winnebago County's present farmland preservation plan has provided the opportunity for landowners in this county to receive $97,000 in tax credits from the voluntary participation of approximately 12,934 acres in the farmland preservation program. Now therefore be it resolved by the Winnebago County Board of Supervisors as follows: that it hereby urges the Wisconsin State Legislature to review ATCP 4912, Wisconsin Administrative Code, and to consider rescinding ATCP 4912, para 1, para C, Wisconsin Administrative Code, which prohibits the rationale for placement of a parcel of property in the farmland preservation plan from being based primarily on landowner preference. That would be one sentence within their administrative code. Be it further resolved by the Winnebago County Board of Supervisors that it directs the Winnebago County Clerk to transmit a copy of this resolution to all legislators representing constituents within Winnebago County within the Wisconsin State Legislature to the Wisconsin Counties Association and to the office of Governor Scott Walker. If I might take a minute, I want to thank Mr. Bodnar personally because he did help me draft this and put it together. Well done, sir. Well written. Hopefully that answers your concerns, Mr. Eisen.
Thank you, Mr. Ford.
Supervisor Smith.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I respectfully submit that we should vote on this and approve it because my understanding was that it hadn't been properly posted, but I see that everything that we need is in here now, even though it's coming up at the board meeting. So I would respectfully suggest that we get that at least 2/3 majority.
Okay, we'll vote by our little iPad. Vote aye if you approve, no if you disapprove. Chuck, you want to vote? That is passed. Supervisor Robel.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll move that we adjourn until Tuesday, June 20th at 6 p.m.
We are adjourned.